Just trying to stay healthy this time of year, trying to take a long trip and try to get rested and all that type of stuff when we're out there. We've done a pretty good job of managing everybody, and I think at this point, everybody's available to me. So, I don't know, just looking forward to the opportunity.
Jeff, what's your message that you really want the gymnasts to take out there when it's, far travel, no SEC teams out there, just all things considered? What do you want them to be kind of focused on and thinking about?
I just feel like the best thing that we've done this year is fight and compete in the moment. We haven't been the cleanest team out there. We haven't had the cleanest meets, but we've never given up. We've never, folded up and gave up on a meet. So that's a secret to postseason. You don't know what the other teams are going through. You don't know what they're dealing with, and it's so much chaos in a meet like that you have no idea who's ahead or who's behind. So I'm just hoping that we just duplicate what we're already good at, and that's just toughness.
Does this team do they watch the scoreboard a little more than you would like, or
Yeah.
do you think
Way more than I like?
But in the postseason, in this situation, it might be a benefit, you think?
Yeah, I think in this situation in quad meets, it's harder to watch, and I think that's a good thing. We had an inter squad last Friday, and I thought they did a really good job. And at the end of it, I asked them how much they paid attention to the scores, and they looked confused because I kept score, but I never showed them the score. I told them it's sort of 1 + 1 does equal 2. Don't pay attention to the score, and you'll perform well. So, but I do think, at this point, you have no idea what's going to happen. Every team has to go to beam. Everybody's got a different system on vault right now. Nobody knows how to score really well consistently on vault across the country. So who knows what's going to happen.
How did you grade the SEC meet? Because, obviously, like analysts will say the judging was tighter. I'm not asking you to comment on judging, but how did you grade your team's performance compared to all the other performances this
We were tight and nervous. And judging, I don't care if it's tight or not, as long as it stays that way. And, you can only, if you don't want to be in the afternoon session, you got to have a better season. But the afternoon session I felt like was pretty good. I looked up, felt like I graded it with our team. We should have won the session if we weren't tight. But we started tight on our 2 best events. I think that's hard. We were set up for failure at that meet because you put your 2 best events, the very first 2 events that everybody's scoring. Usually that means they're going to be really tight early on, and then the judges can loosen up and get into their groove, but we've already wasted our 2 best events at that two highest scoring events.
Is there a secret to how Bars has done so well the last 2 meets? Besides Aria just being great to start with, or is it all Aria? What's been the secret with that?
I think it's everything. I think the fact that we actually have solid depth on bars now. We have a 7th girl and now an 8th. Hannah Hagel's back into it. The other events have had people that are scaring people in the lineup, and that if something happens, I can make a change. Bars didn't have that for the first 6 or 7 meets. And then Olivia Greaves got in and started to settle down a little bit, and now we end up with Emma Grace Boyd and Hannah Hagel actually pushing for lineup spots and scoring well when they get opportunities. That's the secret.
Is there a good thing or a bad thing or an advantage or disadvantage and have you done this before where you just go to the West Coast and compete against? You're in the Pac-12 now. There's no SEC teams.
Is there a Pac-12 out there?
Well, that's not. But you got a chance to win the last Pac-12 championship.
There you go.
So you're gonna meet with all these Pac-12 teams that you haven't seen. Is that a challenge, or is it almost an opportunity of like, hey, look, there's no SEC teams here. We got a chance to kind of show something.
Yeah, I think I'm just excited it's just different. We could have went, last year we had 3 SEC teams in the same situation, and it just seems like we all get ranked so close together. We all see each other all the time, and just nice to see somebody else. I don't know if it's better or not. I know the other teams we're up against are really, really talented, and have the people they have on their team make it really difficult to beat them. But it will be nice to see what other teams are doing. I feel really confident against some of the SEC matchups we've had that if we needed to go against them again, I felt like we could do a really good job. But, there's no secret in a postseason. If you don't hit, it's so tight. Anybody in the top 25 can beat anybody that you might as well not worry about who that other team is. You might as well just worry about yourself.
When you've been at your best this season, a meet or two, what have been the common denominators that have gone into that?
Building off of each other, I think that's the hard part right now. Is it takes a lot of confidence, but I look back at, we had a great Alabama meet. We came out strong. I think we stuck 4 or 5 vaults, and that's a big deal for us. So if we can get on a roll early, we're in a really good spot. We did that in Nashville as well. So we have to come out of the locker room with the right mindset, and that's on our leaders, that's on our upperclassmen to make sure that happens. But we've been really good when we haven't dipped our toe in the water, when we've actually just jumped into the deep end and figured it out.
Are you guys still practicing better than you're performing, or at least sometimes practicing better than you're performing? Because we look at the college gym news model or whatever, but they don't have your practice in their algorithm, right? So, is that something you're telling the team, hey, there's still something to put forward?
I think the potential is what you're talking about. Yeah. Practice builds your potential. I mean, you have to raise your bar up. We are not going into this. I'll answer it a different way. Okay. We are not going into this run in the postseason without the potential to get through. Where I would choose that, our scoring potential is extremely high, and we have interchangeable parts. Last year, we had great scoring potential, but we had no interchangeable parts. So when one thing went wrong, nobody could plug in and replace a Suni Lee score or a Darion Goburn or a Olivia Grease. We have more of that now. So I think the confidence is high that we can get through, but there isn't a lot of room for error. So, what's our chances of getting through? Didn't you put something in the...
It was 8%.
Okay, it's 8%. Thank you. I thought it was 8.6.
According to them, I didn't. And a lot of it, coming down to vault, just what do you tell that group, especially some of the specialists like Sydney or Paige, what do you tell them when you need a big performance out of them? If you get to regional final and if it comes down to that, what do you tell them?
Not much to tell at that point. Yeah. So we have 8 people. You can warm up 8 in the postseason. We will warm up 8, and everybody's got a different strength. So the 3 people who we're looking at are Sophia Groth, Olivia Greaves, and Paige Zancan. And Paige has a higher scoring potential, but is a little bit more risky. Sophia's been there before. She sticks a lot on her vault, and Olivia doesn't stick as much, but has a little bit more amplitude. I just got to figure out what the judges want and put the right person in. So I'll be watching a different event when we're on floor. I'll be watching vault, and then a lot of it's just math. We got to stay ahead. We got to beat 2 teams. It doesn't matter who the 2 teams are. We just have to beat 2 teams. That's the secret to getting through the bracket. So if you're watching the scoring, that should be my job. I told the team, my job is to try to get us to the Sweet 16. Their job is to have a really good performance on each event, on each routine. They should do their job and not mine, and I should do my job and not theirs.
Last thing for me, do you like their mentality, though? And what does it say about them? The seniors you have, the upperclassmen you have, just what does it say about the mentality? And like you said, the way last rotation's been best rotation so many times this season. What does it just say about them, and do you like where their head is going into postseason?
I like this. This is a better formula. To have a tough team that actually can turn it on, it's way better to have that than to have a team that starts strong and can't keep itself together. This team, I'd pick them to go through this thing, but we see. I like them. I like their mentality. They're tough. The leadership's great, but we have a lot of analytical minds in leadership position, and we need to have a little bit of rah-rah. So we'll see if one of our freshmen or sophomores can step up and give some rah-rah, because if we come out with energy, we're going to be in a really good spot.